Welcome to this week's The Bald and Beautiful. I'm Chris.
I'm Bryce,
I'm bald.
and I'm beautiful. Welcome to episode 5, covering week 7 of our cover 5 experience. And it's been fun. Definitely been entertaining and thrilling. I'm definitely enjoying putting on these podcasts. What about you?
It's definitely worth the little bit of effort that we put in. I mean, I'm not wearing pants, so there's that.
Thanks for that visual again.
We don't even
uh,
need to get into visuals with you. Some things you can't unsee. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. Yeah.
For a little bit of context, we used to live together. For those
Uh,
who are listening that don't
See, now
realize
I
that,
wasn't gonna even mention that. I was gonna leave that completely out, but I'm glad you felt like you needed to go there.
I just want some, I want context. It's not like we did it on purpose. Well, I didn't do it on purpose, but like I said, there's just some things you can't unsee.
See, lie to yourself. You can't lie to everyone that's listening. Anyway,
you mean all two people?
we have 14 subscribers, and what was it? 54 total views so far. So,
Okay,
bite
so
me.
we're getting there. We're getting there. We need to do a little promo work.
Yeah, we need to do
Uh,
some.
so
We need to do
so
some marketing for sure.
for those of you that are listening, please share uh, the glory that is the Bald and Beautiful.
Tell your friends. Tell your dad. Tell your mom. Tell your grandma. I'm sure she'd enjoy it too.
I mean, you might have to explain what YouTube is to her, but
But uh,
Anyway,
but let's get into our week 6 recap. We there's no way to really sugarcoat this, at least from what I'm thinking, is we did fantastically better
fantastically
than
mediocre.
it was way better than any of our other weeks, period. It was we're just to get this out of the way, we both have positive points. No one went negative this week. We made some good decisions, and I'm overall just happy with it. uh
I
I am a
mean,
little
I wouldn't
disappointed.
say good decisions per se.
I was 18th over 154 or 144. Oh no, 114. Jesus. So you know what? I'm happy with that.
I mean, I would say it's up there with the decision. Not to eat, French fries off of the fraternity house floor. You know, it's that good of a decision.
Oh, let's just start it off. I'll go first. Jacksonville kept it close, within a touchdown at least. So overall, I can't be too unhappy with them. Wish they would have done a little better in this and fantasy. Freaking Minshew. Uh, San Francisco definitely pulled out the upset, at least according to the cover 5. I knew they were going to destroy the Rams.
Yeah, we were both on that. I don't see that as an upset. I saw that as 3 points.
Yeah, and you picked New Orleans again. We go head to head on different picks, and you still win. That's 2-0 for you there. Um, Atlanta keeping it close. Definitely beat the spread, but didn't do what I was hoping they would do. Arizona is definitely not a team that you're just gonna shut out. So that's good news, at least for Arizona.
Arizona's definitely improving. Like, having been there at the game, though, like the start of the game looked awful for Arizona, right? Like, Atlanta was moving the ball really well, going down the field without much issue, just taking huge chunks of yards. It was like one play, 12 yards, one play, 14 yards, one play, 8, 9 yards. They mix in a couple runs here or there just to have some variance to it. But just single plays, huge chunks of yardage. But I think that also bit them in the ass as well, because their time of I don't think they had the time of possession to run up the score, right? Because they were just doing huge chunks of yardage and moving down the field so quickly when they were able to move down the field that that their time of possession was lower than what it could have been. Definitely giving Arizona the opportunity to come back, and then
and just ruin my spread. Yeah, I get it.
and ruin your spread, and then ultimately watching. Good victory for the Cardinals. Happy to see them win at home. But is it really a win when you win because the other team's kicker blows the PAT?
I think at that point you just got to give it to the fans.
Pretty much. I like
Yeah.
and
Home field advantage. Do you get that one extra point? It should have been a tie.
it should have been a tie.
Just to keep it moving with I'm very happy with my Denver pick. I knew they had just got their first win against the Chargers at the Chargers home field. Then they were going home to play Tennessee, who I normally pick, who's been letting me down. So I took the other end of that one and went to Denver, and it definitely paid off in a big way. Not as big as San Francisco, but still 13.5 points is great. And then what? Dallas. Oh my freaking God. Before that spread was put up, I was going to pick the Thursday night game, and I at least would have had 4 points. But Dallas loses to the Jets. I'm going to say that one more time. Dallas lost to the Jets. And they had such a huge lead, the Jets did, by the way, for a while, that I thought I was going to be completely in the red again just because of your team. The one week that I picked them to do something against a team that did not have a win yet, and they screwed it.
Yeah, but not the same Jets team if you really think about it, right? Adding Sam Darnold back into the lineup, wasn't really sure how he was going to do. I was on this game as well. I felt that the Cowboys, I'm not saying it was going to be a shutout, but that they, even with Darnold back in the lineup, that they should have won this game. They are I still believe they are a better team overall. But it just goes to show like the difference Darnold makes, at quarterback, being able to make those throws downfield, getting Robbie Anderson involved, opening up the run for Le'Veon Bell. You have to remember they have Le'Veon Bell. Like, we weren't like paying attention to that because they weren't really doing anything, right? When you don't have a passing threat in any manner, like eight men in the box, right? So Le'Veon Bell was pretty much a non-issue at that point. But now Darnold brings back the pass, which you have to respect at this point. Can't load up the box.
Yeah.
You're going to make plays. You're going to make plays at that point. So good on them. They deserved it. Cowboys sat on it, but I still stand by my statement from last week. Like, I still have love for Dak. I think Dak can do great things, but as of right now, he is our Jay Cutler. He really is. He has moments of greatness, but then he just isn't able to consistently deliver. And I mean, he's still young. He still has plenty of opportunity to develop and be a great quarterback. But it's just not happening right now.
Yeah, no. I don't know if I'll be picking for them, at least in the time anytime in the near future. Overall, 15 points, not too bad for 18th place. And when I went to go look at the scores, I was half a point ahead of Dad. He had 14.5, so that's another, a little bit of a moral victory. Even though we're not talking along with him today, he also did pretty well. Let's get into what yours that we didn't cover. Seattle.
No, yeah, we didn't. We skipped over Seattle. This was just it was a back and forth game. Like, the Browns are so fickle. Like, from week to week,
they're a wild card.
They might show up. They might not. Ultimately, like, Seattle got it together and down the stretch put up points. But the Browns gave them a run for their money. This week, Baker Mayfield, he injured his hip flexor, I believe, in this game. So we'll see if he ends up playing this week. There's an outside chance that he doesn't play, but even playing like injured, Or no, wait, they're on bye this week. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, they play
That's what I was
New
thinking. I got that backwards. What they're saying is that he will be rested up and ready to play the following week, even with his hip injury. Sorry, I apologize. I got ahead of myself. I combined some things there. I have been drinking, so there's that.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm sipping on some whiskey, some lovely Delaware local whiskey myself.
Uh,
Uh,
I'm not
so
sipping on anything of note, so it was just I have the digs to myself. The wife is out of town for a conference, so I figured I might as well kick up and relax a little bit while I have a little me time.
all right, we all know that's code for. We're gonna keep moving. New Orleans, good pick. They definitely they came out on top, and it wasn't a huge spread, but still enough to get you a decent amount of points. San Francisco also same as me. They did fantastic. We both know they're gonna do great. We just discussed Dallas, and tell me, I want to hear this again. Why did you go with Chargers?
Well, twofold.
No, you know the
Third
one I
string
want to hear.
third string quarterback was starting, right? But that ultimately didn't matter because that's not where like points out the gate didn't come from your offense. It came from the defense, right? For whatever reason, apparently Phillip Rivers is confused on who he plays for because I watched a ton of passes going straight to the defense. But yes, it was not only that, but Melvin Gordon being back in the lineup, I felt would add some extra threat to the run and pass game. But it would have been a plus to choose them out of spite that that Pittsburgh, your team, would lose. And I don't really think I don't know this should really count as a win, as the Chargers like gifted this game to the Steelers.
For those of you who have not listened to our previous episodes, I picked both teams against Dallas the last 2 weeks, and it paid off for me. And then last week he comes up and says, "I'm going to pick Chargers just to spite your team." And what does my team do after a 3-week loss? They kick some butt, and not only that, just ruin his score, and it just made me all giddy inside.
I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row. I've gone into my last game of my last pick, positive points.
Well, you still ended positive this time.
Well, I was okay. So going into
It's like the Steelers didn't do what Cleveland did to you last week.
that's true. Cleveland put me in the negative.
24 points on. Are you
24
at 23?
It was a
We then went
23
down
point
20.
swing. Yeah.
Yeah.
To make me down, or no, 24 points out of my 23 points for a point and a half down. I ended up minus a point and a half last week. So yeah.
One could say that Pittsburgh was a little more gentle.
Yeah. But I was 14th going into the Sunday night game. I really didn't need a ton of points to break into the top 10 or top 5 for the week out of the Chargers at home against a team starting their third string quarterback, and their offense just didn't bother to show up.
Yeah.
Is all it really is. And when you're throwing multiple picks right out the gate, not completing passes, not really getting anywhere with their run game is in a weird state because Eckler was doing so great early on in the season,
getting a lot of love from the fans.
Yeah, without Melvin Gordon and Melvin Gordon in his holdout, right? And now Melvin Gordon's back. They're not using Eckler as much, so he's seeing a significant reduction in his touches, right?
Right.
Period. And they're doing worse.
Well, maybe it's going to take him another week to get back in the groove. But and either way, you ended positive 5 points. You know what your rank was?
I'm 94th overall for
overall.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was for the week. I think 51st, something like that.
No, I know. I think I'm still in the high 90s as far as the overall standing. Wait, actually, it's right there. I could probably just look. Oh, it signed me out. All right. I'll look at it later. But moving on, we need to settle a bet.
Yeah. I mean, this is par for the course, though, right? Like we talk about the curse of the Thursday night game. And like, okay, so I admit
I
it.
think I gave you a huge advantage, and you don't
No,
even realize it. You don't even realize what kind of advantage I gave you.
you didn't give me any sort of advantage. And I don't really believe that you came up with this bet on your own. I truly believe that chick that you were hanging out with that knows more about football than you came up with this.
I'm gonna prove you wrong. I am gonna prove you wrong
How are
right
you going to
now.
prove me wrong?
Because the bet, for those of you that don't know what the bet was from last week, because you started here for some reason, the bet was I bet Chris that Tom Brady would throw 3 touchdown passes and he had to pick the over or under. And if he got it right, he won. Now, the basis for my pick was I looked at the fantasy football rankings on, or his stats on, ESPN fantasy football, and the max that he threw in a game was 3 thus far. The max that he threw. And I mean, even in this game, I would probably, if I was so much of a stickler, it doesn't even matter. Spoiler alert, he lost. If you, technically didn't throw a single touchdown pass because he ran in 2. But I would still give this to you just because it doesn't matter either way.
Well, it's still a Brady. They were still Brady touchdowns, right? Like,
But only one of us listens to the old podcast, and I think I specifically said threw them in.
well, yeah, you said, and well, when I clarified, I asked the clarifying question. You said it can't be a handoff, and you
Yeah.
said, yeah, and that's technically not a handoff. That's him running it in, right?
The
It's a
point. The
Brady
point.
touchdown.
The point is moot. He ran into himself. He did make the extra effort at the one line touchdown, or 1 yard line. I can't even get a thought out now because I'm so excited. I still remember texting you. Brady needs to trust his running backs because he wasn't handing it off at the 1 yard line. Any other quarterback, give it to Gurley, give it to Henry, give it to Williams. Like, no other quarterback is doing the 1 yard push unless they're calling it a Brady. So I think it's time for us to see that not so punishment.
Not so punishment.
It's not a huge punishment.
No, it's not.
No, yeah, I think you did well with this, honestly. I did see it already before, because obviously we had to help set it up, and it is pretty funny. I definitely have seen this meme a few times with plenty of different things, and just seeing you Photoshop your face on there was hilarious.
I can't take credit for the Photoshop job. Like
Sam,
the wife, yeah, the
yeah.
wife did it. It helped me out and put it together, for me because this is her trade, right? She's a graphic designer, so why was I gonna try and like butcher this?
Because God forbid you try to learn a skill.
I have more skills than you'll ever know.
We're only trying to put on a podcast which involves some visual aids, and you don't want to learn a little bit about how it's done.
Oh, I know exactly how it's done, but
well, maybe one day we'll get big enough we can hire an editor.
Maybe. We'll see. We gotta. So, once again, if you're listening to this, share, friends, co-workers,
Facebook, it,
yeah,
Instagram, whatever. We're supposed to be putting this on some other podcasting sites as well. But we'll see if we can get into that.
Yeah, we'll put that together. Like I'll put it out on some other areas like that, so like they can download it. The only problem is like we do a lot of what we do is based on visuals, so that could be kind of hard from just an audio perspective because the other outlets are like audio only, right? So
yeah, well, that's why I was trying to be a little bit more vocal about the scores and stuff like that. I mean, no one would be able to see this picture, but hopefully, that you tell them, hey, we're also on YouTube, go listen to it, and we'll be good. Anyway, we don't need to have this discussion now on the recording. But you want to do a quick shout out to some people that are listening while we're talking about it?
Yeah, you should start with the shout out.
Eric out in California. I know you and Jillian are listening. Hopefully you've convinced Andy to listen to. And a new subscriber that I've told about this weekend, Matt down in Virginia. Hope you're listening. Send us an email. Tell us some more about what you want to hear, and also listen to some older content and make some predictions.
You're not going to shout out to Kate, or Kate wouldn't listen?
You're talking about Kayla that I work with?
No, Matt's wife, right?
Oh, Matt's
His
wife.
name's
Because
Kate.
I was like, yeah, because Kayla, I make her listen.
You
But
make her
yeah,
listen. That poor girl.
Kay isn't going to listen to this. I know she's not. And as soon as I say that, Matt's going to laugh because he's going to be listening to it by himself.
Let's see.
If she is, thanks for listening, Kate.
We'll give a shout out to the commish if you're listening. Hopefully you'll join us soon enough. Anyone from the Cover 5 League, we appreciate your patronage. If you'd like to come on, please email us. Hit up the commish. If you don't want to, you don't want to email the bald and beardful at gmail.com. We want to get in touch with us in another way. Go there. Let's see. Any of our friends or family that are not a part of the league that are just supporting us, we appreciate you tuning in, hitting that like and subscribe button, and sharing that out on your social media.
All right, let's we're gonna do a quick recap of all that at the end. So let's get on to our big news. We got a couple one of our favorite segments, and then we have a new segment, or just the new big news. I mentioned earlier to Chris that I like this the news stuff just because every week we have something new coming up. Something happens, and whether it's funny or heartbreaking, we're gonna go with the funny.
Okay. What are you starting off with?
Well, we're starting off with the well, at least on the next slide is the Owens.
Oh, we jumping into the Owens.
Yeah, I figure after on this slide we can go into the big news of the week.
All right, that works.
Because this is just a quick refresh. We are finally down to only 2 teams that are winless, and the same 2 teams, they pulled out another win. And Patriots, no surprise. 49ers, they had a good game against the Rams. Definitely, I think I got pretty close. What was the Rams score on that one? Week 6. Where's the Rams? Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. Where was 49ers? I think Rams got 7 points. That is because they definitely didn't do much. And then 49ers 20. Yeah, it was two score game, but Rams definitely could have done better. Especially at home. They were at home for that.
The LA teams are weird at home. I don't think it matters as much as some of the teams that have been playing in their stadium for decades. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll change once the new stadiums are built, which I'm actually looking forward to. I plan on. I don't know about you, but I'd like to go out and check out a game at the new LA stadium.
What about the Oakland Stadium that's happening is it next year or the year after? I think it's next year.
Yeah.
I think it was projected for 2020. I think that'd be fun too, just because it's at least within the same range as the new LA Stadium.
And then they get the Super Bowl. I think they get the Super Bowl there in 2 years. I think next year it opens, and then either the year after or the year after that. You know what I mean? That they actually are going to get the Super Bowl there. That'll be insane.
That'd be a good time. As a quick reminder, you remember our predictions for who was going to be the last one to get a win, or get a win at all, or maybe not even get a win?
I picked the Dolphins, if I remember correctly, to be winless.
You did pick the Dolphins. I picked the Jets, who I'm going to say it again, beat the Cowboys.
I
didn't see that. I definitely did not see that coming. I actually thought they were going to have a harder schedule, and so you're on par, and all Bengals got to do now is get a win. I mean, at least to make it completely official. I mean, if 2 teams go winless this season, I think that'll be your first. I think.
Yeah, I think there's only been a couple teams that have been completely winless.
Yeah, it was the Browns and Detroit. Detroit did it first.
Yeah,
2015, if I'm not mistaken. And I think was it the next year or the year after Browns did?
Something like that. But either way,
it was within 2 years.
I'm looking at this week though. I don't see a win out of either of these teams. Like as far as like an upset perspective,
What we got? We got Dolphins, Miami.
Dolphins play Buffalo at
They,
Buffalo,
yeah,
right? Or are they at
that's
home?
no, they're at Buffalo.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That is not going to be a good game for them. And then we have Cincinnati going to or playing at home against Jacksonville, who, if they play like last week, could squeak out a win.
Not the same teams, man. Like that's what I'm looking at. Like New Orleans is Jacksonville played New Orleans. Yeah, they were at home, but New Orleans' defense is playing very well this season, right? And it's really keeping them in it. Their offense isn't necessarily firing on all cylinders. They've had some flashes of performance, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
with Teddy Bridgewater behind center. But they should be looking at – they're coming into a bye week here shortly. I believe their bye week is next week. And then after that, Drew Brees should be back in the lineup.
Yeah, but Bengals also played against Ravens. And that was a 5-point or 6-point game, and Ravens have a decent defense. So I don't know. I think it really could go either way for them. I think if they really came to play, they could pull out a win.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. New England plays the Jets this week on Monday Night Football.
Wouldn't that be a fun upset?
And then the Niners are playing Washington at home. They're in the Bay.
Yeah,
right?
they're at Washington.
Oh no, they're at Washington, not at home. They're traveling. I'm not that I think that matters.
It's not like I know they are. That would be it. No. So yeah, San Francisco's traveling. That is, that is across the country. So I mean, maybe they'll get jet lag. You never know.
Yeah,
Washington's just got off a win from Miami. So are there hopes that high up?
Maybe that's stranger things have happened. We've had some pretty crazy things happening this season. I know I have not been able to find a good rhythm with my picks. And
you and our listeners know that.
All
right. Let's move into our fun news of the week. I guess I'll call it interesting news. You want to start it off?
Sure. Myles Garrett, being a good ambassador to the game, has a fan approach him wanting to take a picture. And what does he get?
He gets a picture. I will admit he does get the picture.
Oh yeah, but for his kindness, his his openness to engage with the fans, he gets punched in the face after taking a picture with a fan. I mean, Myles Garrett's a big dude. Like that's ballsy, man. Like because it's not like yeah, he's a big dude. He's a defensive end, but he still has some speed and some strength. So depending upon like this scenario, right? Are you really going to be able to get away from this guy?
When I read this, I read just like one or two articles, and I could not find any response from the guy that hit him. Like, I want to know why. I want to know what made you so mad that you had to flag him down real quick. Hey, can I get a picture? Get the picture. And I'm assuming go, thanks, whack.
I don't think it's anger. I think it's like slapping a bull, right? I think that's what it is, right? It's that risk factor, and then he had the picture. The picture is proof, right?
Yeah, the picture that he got that close. I mean, then again, if you punch any NFL player, they're gonna do what Myles did and tweet about it. Should I read the tweet?
If you're lucky, yeah, go ahead and read the tweet.
The tweet was pretty funny, and it says, a fan, in quotation marks, hopped out of his car to take a picture with me and then punched me in the face. Put your legs into it. Might have actually made me flinch. Thumbs up. So now he did a full closed fist punch, and he might as well have slapped him.
I think slapping him would have been better, actually. I think it would have been a lot funnier if you slapped him. Like, I think of
At least then you can go, oops, I missed the high five.
What's that? What's that movie with Ryan Reynolds? Where we're just friends. Where like when he goes back home and him and his brother like keep like ambushing each other and slapping each other in the face. Like that's what I imagine. Like they're like you say something, you're like you say something to distract them, and then they look at you or whatever, go or say what you go and you just slap them.
Well, he got his licks in. Unfortunately, Miles also got the license plate and police caught up to him. So we definitely don't advise any of our listeners to see an NFL player and go and swing at him.
Assault them, yeah, probably
yeah,
not, like not condoning it.
Miles, I mean, given the opportunity, could have probably taken him down and just wailed on him. I mean, he could have slapped Kareem Hunt. We all saw the video. Too soon?
Well, he's back in 4 weeks, so there's that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was just funny to read. Like, who gets that mad? I want to know why. Like, is it because they won? Is it because they lost? Is it like, how do you get that mad at someone you don't know who did nothing to you? I mean, maybe he ruined the spread of a bet for you, Chris. But like how mad can you get at someone and just someone you don't know and just want to physically assault them for some reason?
Maybe he was sliding up in his girl's DMs. Maybe he was DMing his mom. We don't know.
So apparently either his mom or girl are good enough to get an NFL defensive end. So how mad can he really be? Anyway, I think we need to
anyway, let's get into week 7.
Hopefully, I'm just hoping this week is better than last week's. I'll be honest, I think I'm making some questionable picks. It should be good though. I think you're definitely taking a risk. Little foreshadowing.
I didn't like this week's spreads like at all, to be honest. Whoa, what was that?
All right, that was me.
Obviously, it was you because it wasn't me. Process of elimination.
Well, they don't know that. No, sorry, I was messing with my mic. And anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so
stupid.
Let's just go into our week 7.
All right, go ahead.
You started off. I started off the recap.
All right, let's see here. Looking at this, I think we're only overlapping on one game.
Two games.
You're right, 2 games. Except for so Jacksonville at Cincinnati. So we're both on that. We really don't think that Cincinnati's going to pull it out, right? Like we don't think Cincinnati's going to win.
Yeah, so I talked them up a little bit, but not as much as I did in the previous. Yeah, but
you remembered which one you picked this time?
Yeah, no, Jacksonville. I think they had a bad game. I mean, I know they had a bad game. So I'm hoping they'll get their stuff together this week.
Yeah, I'm figuring they're going to bounce back. It was a close game. It was, still a loss, right?
Yeah, it was a loss. One touchdown, not too bad.
But, close game against arguably I actually think they're the leading team in the NFC, right? Oh, no, the Niners are the leading team in the NFC, but New Orleans is right up there, right? New Orleans is a Super Bowl contender.
Mm-hmm.
To lose by a score to a Super Bowl contender, it happens, right? It wasn't anything that was, I would say, like super crazy as far as the game and as far as the loss. They were competitive in that, but I think they bounce back from that loss and maybe take out some of that frustration on the Bungles.
The Bungles.
And go from there. Looks like we're both on that on the Houston train at Indianapolis. This one I think is a little risky. I would be more comfortable with this pick if it was like +3.5.
Is Hilton back?
Hilton's back, I believe. That even with Hilton back, Houston has proven that they will not go quietly into that good night. Like they come to play, and they play from
Yeah,
from what's to the west, right?
they also just came off a good win off of Kansas City. And I believe they were in Kansas City as well. So they're still on the road. They coming off a good win against a really good team. And Indianapolis, I mean, was there well, at least one of their last games at home against Oakland definitely didn't go the way we thought it was going to go. So
Well, without T.Y. Hilton, the game against
yeah,
Oakland was without T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton's back in the mix, but I think Houston's defense is good enough to keep them under control, give their offense good field position. Right, Deshaun Watson is I think he's a more dynamic quarterback than Brissett.
mhm.
So I said I would be more comfortable with a few more points, but ultimately still on Houston. I think Houston comes away with this win, and I'm looking at. I feel like worst case scenario, small victory. Like it'll be close and a small victory, but positive no matter what.
And I obviously agree with you with my pick of them. Let's get into San Francisco. I was thinking about that pick myself but 10 points. I mean, Washington definitely is not a great team this year, but I do think they could keep it close, especially since San Francisco is traveling and to Washington. I mean, I think the cross country does take a toll on some players.
I mean, I'm just riding the momentum really with this pick, right? Yes, Washington had their one win against Miami, right? That they've
Right,
had so far for the season,
right.
but the Niners are not Miami. Um, Washington starting to get more of a passing game going, but I think that the Niners secondary is just gonna dominate that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the Washington Bears game is a repeat, then all Keenum's going to do is throw it to San Francisco the entire night.
Yep, and we're looking at that like the mistakes. There's the potential for mistakes to be made on Washington's side. I think uh, I think that's really where it's at. Um, if the defense can roll for San Francisco, I think this is a handed victory. I'm not expecting huge points, like a huge margin, like 42-0 or anything like that. But I am expecting to cover the spread and then some.
All right, what about Tennessee? Tennessee, I'm kind of swearing off of. I can't pick another Tennessee victory. It hurts.
This is actually more of a trend pick than you'd think, right? Uh, Mariota being benched this week, Ryan Tannehill, the backup, coming in. And so far this season, pretty much every backup that's come into the game has performed and has led their team to victory. Even third string. Look at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is a prime example of that.
Third string quarterback comes in, dominant victory over the Chargers, Minshew, Kyle Allen. Who else? Teddy Bridgewater's been doing real well. Jacoby Brissett is back up. Was back up to Luck when Luck retired for you know.
Indianapolis, yep.
Yeah, well, I was just say for Indianapolis. I was just say for his own safety that he was actually
Yeah,
going to be able to see 40.
yeah. The dude got hurt every season.
Maybe we're
Um,
protecting him, but
No,
who else?
I can understand the trend. I think after a loss at home from the Steelers, who were doing really badly, I think Chargers aren't going to give that up without a fight. I think that's going to be a close game. Your last pick is definitely very surprising for me.
This is one of those things. Like I look at New England last week, and it was a close game for the majority of the game, right? Definitely think with Darnold in the lineup, they keep it close. They have, like I said, they have receivers that can catch the ball and that Darnold has a good relationship with and is connecting with. That opens up Le'Veon Bell, right?
Hmm.
And uh, Bennett for New England's defense is actually suspended for this game. So they're down a defensive lineman, Pro Bowl defensive lineman, right? So I'm looking at those factors, and just because like I normally would not pick this, and I've been wrong all season, right? So the fact that I normally would not take this pick, I'm going with a contrarian strategy in this particular case, and jumping on this is the deep spread that I could actually like hop on board being on the dog side. Couldn't do it with Washington against the Niners. I just don't see it. And then looking at Miami plus 17 against the Bills, but in Buffalo, I couldn't do it. Even at plus 17. Maybe if it was like plus 20 something, well, we saw those.
I don't think I've seen a 20 yet, actually.
Yeah, we have New England and Dallas. Both were over 20-point favorites against the Jets and Miami in that respective week. I think it was week 3, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'll have to go back and check that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm going to be completely honest with my picks. I'm not happy. I mean, just thinking now that I'm really thinking about it. I mean, I put some decent thought into it. I looked on, high scoring teams and defenses that are getting scored on a lot. Kansas City over Denver. Kansas City is coming off of a 2-game loss, so I'm hoping they're going to, light the fire. But this is also a Thursday game, so I'm not getting my hopes up too much. Jacksonville, we already covered. Detroit against Minnesota. Minnesota has been doing better since the beginning of the season. Diggs had a great game last week. The week before, Thielen had a great game. So if they keep up their trend, that's definitely going to hurt me. But I think Detroit giving Kansas City a run for the money in Kansas City, and I think they even did well. Who they play last week?
Green Bay.
Did they?
Monday night's game, Green Bay at Green
And,
Bay, where they got absolutely hosed by the refs. I'm not ranting about the refs this episode. I know
you're not
plenty,
allowed.
But I just want to point out.
But they lost by a point, is what I was getting at.
NFL has even admitted that the calls by the refs were completely just ludicrous, right? And that they're actually apologizing to Detroit's owner, Martha Ford, right? It's gotten so bad. No, it's not a rant. This is more news recap, right? It's also gotten so bad that the analysts are now calling out the refs all throughout Monday night with the calls that were just completely off. The ones that they're talking about, the analysts are now calling it out because of what it's doing, right?
I'm just going to quote a radio station I heard, what if the refs had to come out to the podium and explain the calls that they made, like the players do and the coaches do?
Yeah, but
that'd be fun.
I see where you're on Detroit. They did well. I just think I think that's way too close to call. I think you could honestly flip a coin on that game. And either one of them is capable of a significant win.
Yeah, I'm going with the home field advantage. The Detroit, hopefully it's the team I want to show up. They did well against Kansas City and Green Bay. I'm hoping that Minnesota isn't as good as those teams. And then my last pick, going Baltimore. I know they're traveling to Seattle, but I think that Seattle's starting to slip a little bit, and I think Baltimore can overcome.
I mean, I think that game is an early lead, right? If Baltimore can get an early lead and put Seattle behind the 8 ball, if you will, I think that's a hand of victory. I looked at that game and I stared at it for a long time before making my last, because that was probably going to be my last pick as well. But Baltimore hasn't been as consistent as they look like they should be on paper, right? Getting blown out at home against the Browns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Seattle is not an easy place to go in and win unless you're the Cardinals for some reason.
Right.
That always seems to be a thing. No, I've had season tickets to the Cardinals the last 5-6 years now, and they seem to trade off. Seattle loves to come to Arizona and open up a can of whoop. And conversely, Cardinals, for whatever reason, like to go to Seattle and play well above and beyond, and usually come home with a victory too. So it's this weird like
It's because
trade off,
that's
right?
it's because the Cardinals are snowbirds, and that's where their summer wives are. Anyway, but so there's trying to play to impress. All right. So but just looking at this as well, I noticed that a lot of my picks are a little more conservative. No spread is more than 3.5. You got a couple of 10 picks in there. We'll see if the risk is worth the reward in next week's episode for sure. So I think we need to give them a proper send off. You want to do it?
No, by all means.
Yeah.
You won the side bet, so the honor should be yours.
All right. Don't forget, you can always email us at thebaldandbeautiful@gmail.com. If you can't understand me, it's written right there on the screen. Please email us, send in your comments, the stuff maybe you want to hear us talk about. Please like and subscribe to this video, to our podcast. Let us know you're listening. And also turn on that notification so you know when we put out all of our new content. And so until next week.
See you then. Same bald time, same beard channel. Bye.